Hey, what's good, you guys? And today we'll be at it again with another review. And today we will be reviewing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is an action role-playing game developed by Ubisoft Montreal, and it was published by Ubisoft. The game is set in 873 AD. The game recounts a fictional story during the Viking invasion of Britain. You guys get to play as Eivor, female or male, who was forced to witness the death of his or her parents at the hands of a rogue Viking warlord. And 18 years later, he or her continued the pursuit of that warlord to take revenge. After that, Eivor technically has become enrolled in the conflict between the Brotherhood of Assassins and the Templar Order. I'm gonna end the plot there because the plot in this game is freaking massive. So let's hop on to the gameplay. So like I said before, this game is an open world action adventure game structured around several main storyline quests and numerous optional side quests. The players could take the role of Eivor, female or male, in which you are able to customize Eivor's hair, war paint, clothing, armor, and tattoos. The variety of weapons available to you has been expanded upon to include weapons such as flails and great swords. The combat has been changed numerously to allow dual wielding almost any weapon, including the shields, and every piece of gear that you collect is unique. So technically they took off the random generated loot in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. The eagle vision mechanic of the previous titles has returned from the form of Odin's sight, and your companion animal is the raven named Serene, who can be used to scout out nearby areas. There will be more focus on the stealth aspect for both traversing the game world and in combat. The social stealth concept of an earlier Assassin's Creed game has returned, and you will be able to hide from enemies not only from stationary environment objectives, but can pull down their hood and slip into certain crowds to use them as cover. You can also fringe death used to the raven to distract the guards, and can access a hidden blade from near instantaneous assassinations. The game's key bosses will all, throughout specific combinations of approach, tactics, and weapon selection, will be able to assassinate through single attacks, but still can be defeated through numerous other routes. So with my personal experience with the combat since I played Origins and Odyssey, it was majorly completely different. And for some weird reason, it had some type of different feel, but once you get used to it, the combat system was completely awesome. It was perfect. It was great. And plus, as you travel through England and Norway, most of them is based on like three type of like varieties. So for example, one is based off wealth, another one is based off mysteries, and another one is based off artifacts. And for each task that you do, whatever one that you choose, you'll get numerous rewards. And the game will rely less on the traditional leveling system, and instead of focusing more on the selection of skills through the skill tree. And speaking of the skill tree is freaking massive. The skill tree is based off of the bear skill tree, the wolf skill tree, and the raven skill tree. So technically the raven skill tree is kind of like the assassin skill tree, and the bear skill tree is like the warrior skill tree. I'm not really sure about the wolf skill tree, but the wolf skill tree definitely has its perks, so you shouldn't really skip on it. But sadly to say, most of my time was actually spent on the bear skill tree and the raven skill tree. And each skill tree is unique in its own specific way, and if you focus on one specific skill tree, it'll actually add additional stats to your character. And if you don't like the current skills that you have in your skill tree, you can always reset it to make that perfect playstyle. And I'm not gonna lie, the only thing that kind of grinds my gears is you have to literally find your abilities through the wealth missions, and it's kind of hard because, like, I'm not gonna lie, it does make you go back and backtrack and try to collect all the abilities, but it's kind of annoying knowing that you have to literally go back to get the specific ability that you want. And the same thing goes with the gear. Even though each gear is unique, it's like you have to literally go backtrack and go through certain areas to actually find that specific gear or ability. Other than that, the difficulty posed by the enemy will be rated based on your collection of skills. And the development team aim to introduce a wider range of enemy archetypes. So enemy archetypes will have their own special abilities that they can use against you. They have about 25 unique enemy archetypes, and each has a unique way of challenging you. So some enemy types can coordinate with each other's special attacks, and enemies can also use objectives in the environment to their advantage. Some enemies are capable of adapting to your actions in combat, finding ways to defend themselves, and enemies can also show personality during combat. While some might be intimidated by you and fight more defensively, while others might be more aggressive. Conquest battles, a feature introduced in the series in Odyssey, will return. They will be known as assaults, and you will be able to lead Viking armies to attack fortifications. Raids are smaller battles where you will be able to lead raiding parties to attack targets and secure resources for your settlement, and you will be able to build a raiding party by recruiting non-playable characters to assist you, and you will be able to create Viking mercenaries or Joan Vikings that can be recruited by other players, and you will gain additional in-game rewards for successful missions that your Joan Vikings takes part in. And the game will see the return of settlements, which has been absent from the series since Assassin's Creed 4. And certain quests will start and finish in the settlement, and you'll be able to direct construction of certain types of buildings, which in turn provides benefit for gameplay. And to build these structures, you'll need to lead the Vikings on raids to collect resources. Now let's talk about the dialogue. I really doubt this, because throughout my playthrough I have experienced some really bad stuff, but technically not all missions require violent ends, with some that can be resolved through diplomatic means. Your choices through conversations or gameplay options will affect characters and political alliances with non-playable characters, and you can actually create some type of relationship with those non-playable characters as well. And on the top side, you can also form diplomatic weddings in the form of relationships between the clans and the community, and you will be able to explore romance options as well as the same as sex relations. And you guys know how I feel about boat missions. I'm not really a big fan on boat missions, but in this one is a little different. Your longship will act more as a mean to travel when performing raids and for escaping after land combat, rather than being used in combat with other naval vessels. In addition to all of this, you have plenty of activities to do, such as hunting, fishing, brawling with other Vikings. You can have drinking contests and flighting challenges. When you don't even know what flighting means, yo, you could roast niggas. And you know I love to roast niggas.
I've sailed squalls and north winds. You, not even a breeze. But the winds that you sail
blow between both your knees.
blow between both your... Oh, you mean farting?
And in addition, you can also play a mini dice game called Orog and Kettering Construction, if that's how I can actually pronounce it. So it's safe to say that environmentally, like, there is a lot of things that you can do, and you can literally make a ton of choices. Rather that it be silly or not, there's a lot of environments here. And graphically, the game is freaking beautiful, regardless of how dark it may seem. It does have it's I don't know, it's kind of like a middle of the road. Like sometimes it could be really dark, but then there's other times where it's really bright and colorful. And the soundtrack is on point when it comes to doing something. So like, for example, when you're raiding, the music literally matches with the whole thing. It was just beautiful. I was just jamming through it the whole entire time, and it made me actually feel like an actual Viking. And since it's an open world game, it definitely does have some glitches. In some cases with me, some were game breaking, like 1 or 2 times, but most of them are just funny glitches. But other than that, I think that I covered everything. I'm not really sure, but other than that, I'm probably just gonna go on to my overview. So on the positive side of things, the overall story was cool. I definitely loved the gameplay. I definitely liked the dialogue. I definitely like the combat mechanics. I love the gears and weapons in the game. I definitely like it. Definitely has a little bit of customization. I definitely like the skill tree. I definitely like the different type of enemies. The environments was cool. I love the graphics, the soundtrack, and it has a lot of content. And just because I like roasting people, I'm gonna add flighting in it. But in a negative side of things, it does have a little bit of backtracking and it does have some glitches. The game initial release date was on November 10th, 2020. The game should be in most platforms, so PS4, Xbox One, and PC, Stadia, Luna, and it should be on the next gen console, so it will be on the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. So if you get the game digitally, the Ultimate Edition is about $119. The Gold Edition is about almost $100, and the Standard Edition is just $59.99. If you get the game in local stores, it mostly should be about the same price range. But when I look at Walmart, it's a little cheaper. It's about $49.94, but most of it is about the same price range. So is this game really worth it? I had the Xbox One version, and to be honest, in my opinion, despite most of the backtracking, glitches, and the similarities between the other previous franchises and differences, I actually enjoyed playing the game. And I am happy to say that it is a very different experience and it was very, very fun. So with that being said, I highly advise you guys to buy this game. This game is definitely worth your money. So technically that is the review. If you like the review, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. I do reviews, videos, PvP matches, streams, and more. And if you haven't yet, please don't forget to follow me on my Facebook page and my Twitch account because I stream on those platforms as well. Everything should be in the description box below, and I will catch you guys on the next review.